Pastor, even that you mentioned about how you're married, right? Married to the church. That means you are, to a certain extent, tied down in a good way to the church, and you had to let go of the desire at that time or the dream of going around to be an evangelist. Are there any other dreams or desires you had to put aside because of this commitment? Because when it's a commitment, that means it's tight, that you need to invest. Then just want to see, Pastor, if you have that.
Well, someone asked me recently in Kuching, Pastor, can you tell me the sacrifices you've made to be here? I don't want to sound over spiritual when I answer this, Stephen, because I will go into details in a minute, but I don't see them as sacrifices. Many years ago, an older man asked me, I heard you're a lawyer. What a big sacrifice you made to go full-time and serve God. And I looked at him, maybe I was much younger then and, just very idealistic. I go like, yeah, but the sacrifice of Jesus is bigger. And when I look at the sacrifice that Jesus made, mine is nothing, Sounds very idealistic, right? Sounds very like, whoa, super spiritual. I still feel that way, Stephen, because I did not see, maybe God gave me those eyes to see Jesus sacrifice first and go like, hey, please, don't talk about your own. Like yours is like kacang putih, it's really nothing. But let's get into some reality now. There are sacrifices. You heard me say I couldn't travel like that anymore. I couldn't have those crowds. I used to have offerings coming to me, and that's because that I don't have a salary. So when I travel, people know me and they support the ministry. When I said I was going to start a church, believe it or not, Stephen, maybe it's not so bad today, but those days everybody was busy growing their own church, and many churches were new. Talking about 25 years ago or more, people were still building their churches, and I call it insecure or call it just worried about sheep stealing, because people work so hard to get sheep, right? To get new believers, new souls. When you were a parachurch organization, you were not stealing, you were contributing. They want more of you. But when I said God has called me to plant a church, it was like I had a plague, I had a disease. My wife, if you ask her, she will tell you, like, even our friends started to pull away. No more invitations. No more invitations not just mean, you don't feel the support anymore. You don't feel, not just that, but there was no offerings also to talk about, because now you don't get invited, you don't get any blessing financially. People don't want to support you, because if they support you, then, because they already saw how God was using you, especially among young people, so they're afraid that young people will come to your church. So if I support you, then I'm supporting that my people will one day go to your church. So for whatever reasons, people pulled away. And so not only the money side of things, but just friends pulling away, people you knew pull away, that was also, to me, a sacrifice. Because it was painful. It was painful. Like, hey, why these people suddenly, no more invitations. No more invitations, and so there I was with 3 people, a small church, and just obedience. And God had to provide for me another way. At that time, it's just so many testimonies. I don't even dare start telling you, how the Lord provided for me. But, He provided, and He was faithful to me. So those were some of the sacrifices. Definitely, when you spend time with people, it's time. And when you spend time with people, then you can't spend time doing your own thing. I gained a lot of weight when I started the church, and people go like, wow, start a church, but I thought you should be busy. I said, yeah, I'm busy meeting people. And so we joke about it being an occupational hazard, that I have to meet so many people, nights. When you deal with young people, you're eating all the way to 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, mama. And it was so funny because I gained, I think maybe about 10, 15 kilograms with those late nights. But there were sacrifices, and it had to do with money, it had to do with time, it had to do with so you can't travel, and some of the things that you want to see done even in your own life and in your own ministry, all that you just had to put aside. A lot of things we had to put aside. Those also were the years where Pastor Sandra and I didn't go on holidays a lot. Not only not enough money, but also you always had to be around. Can you imagine when you're a pastor of a church, every Sunday already you got to be there. So where is there such a thing as weekend holidays?
Yeah,
it's generic to that It's always going to be time No time, not much time for you anymore, but a lot of time for others, and so on and so forth. But coming back to what I just said earlier, is that when you look at what the Lord did for you, then you go like, it's just there's no comparison.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Pastor. In terms of Pastor, you mentioning about the weekends, it dawned upon me end of last year when I was going back to Penang, and then I realized, I can't be going back to my hometown on the weekends anymore.
Right.
And no, like what you mentioned, Pastor, no like long holidays and stuff like that.